Well, hi folks. We are looking at working on the lower roof today. Started it yesterday. We're supposed to have 4 or 5 days of sunny weather. Chance of showers this afternoon, but I hope that doesn't happen. So all the tarps are gone. You can see I started finishing off the lower roof there yesterday with the extra snow guards and the extra screws I couldn't get from up top. And I've also put the cleats in to put the new nailing furring, screwing furring for the panels for the lower roof. And I also finished scraping the old paint there along the fascia and the soffit and the frame, the window frames. I did do 2 of them. I'm going to second coat them today. It's going to be the only day of the week that I can do any painting because it's warm. So that's my next move as soon as I put some of those 1x4 furrings in up there. It's the only way to do it because once that tin roof is on, there's no way I'm going to stand on the tin to try to paint. So as much of this other work that I can get done with the roof off now, I want to do because I can stand on the wood. I just won't be able to stand on the tin. I'm also going to put Celotex or Armax, whatever term you want to use for it, the polyisocyanurate board between the windows up there to cover the old shingles. They're getting pretty bad, pretty rough. So I at least want to cover them so it stays waterproof and the shingles don't fall off and damage the new lower roof. So I'll do that. The house will be more silver for a while, but hopefully someday I can get some siding on it. I wish I could do those other two windows, put new ones in like I did the one on the left, but I don't have the money for that right now, so that'll have to hold off. But we're going to see how far we get. Hopefully by Friday this will be all complete, bottom and top, and we'll see where we are. I did find that I can use the extension ladder from the lower roof up to the upper as long as I put 2x6s on top of the rafters there in the floor of that roof, the lower roof. It's not as stable walking there as it was on the upper roof where I had a full floor on the attic, but it's working okay, and the ladder is stable. I don't have to worry about falling off of it or tipping or anything. So I'll just work my way across with it like that, paint what I can't reach from standing on the wood, and also then continuing the ice guards in the upper roof till I get into the corner. So next couple days is all prep work, and then hopefully Wednesday or Thursday tomorrow, later in the day tomorrow or Thursday, start the tin, the steel sheeting, the rib tin roofing, and we'll see how it goes. So I'll give you an update on that. Thanks for watching. Hi folks. Well, it's the next day. Sorry about the wind. It is very windy today. It's about 15 degrees colder and a lot windier than it was yesterday. But just progress. As you can see, I got all the ice guards on. The upper roof is completely done now. I also got all the painting done yesterday. I got some more boards put on the lower roof, and I did some piecework there on this corner here with pieced in some Celotex to make it more watertight. So today I've got to finish the bottom part of that. That's a mess. And then I've got to put some insulation in the stud channels in the bottom of the wall there at the back of the roof. Some of that was pretty much gone, so I want to re-insulate the house. Then I've got to put the last cleat on, and then I can start with the trim pieces, the sidewall piece there, and then the end wall that goes all the way underneath the windows. And hopefully then I'll get at least all that done today. Then tomorrow we're ready for tin. I also have to put the Celotex between the windows, the polyisocyanurate board. So that's where we stand now. We got through the day yesterday with just a couple sprinkles here and there. I was almost ready to put the tarp back on to protect the roof, but it wasn't necessary. So we got through that, and now we just get a couple colder, windy days, and I can manage that. The pieces aren't as long, and they're not as tall to have to, or I don't have to take them up 3 stories. It's just 2 stories, so I can work around the wind, I think. So at any rate, that's where we stand, and I will update you when we get more. Okay, it's the next day. Progress continues on the roof. I just want to give you a perspective from up here and kind of in the roof here to see what prep work's been needed to be done. If you'll notice here, right above the rafters, top bottom of the roof, obviously top of the floor below, I've run a series of 2x6s in a row and nailed them down. That's my walking platform for working up here. I nailed them down so that they won't slide around, because if I step in between, I go right through the floor. As you can see here, you can see one of the rafters. They're like 3x3, but they're 4 feet apart in how they built this, what used to be an open porch roof. So instead of ripping all this off and redoing everything, I'm just adapting what I have. One of the other things that I think I mentioned, but I'm not sure if I did, that I had to do was these roof trusses here, these roof joists. As you can see, they're 3 feet apart. But the way these were secured is unusual, because normally you would tie these right back into the house, that they be anchored to one of the upright framing members. But because of the way this house was built, they don't line up with the wall studs. So whoever built this place did, you can see here some of the old clapboards that were put on before the porch was put on. And when they went to do the rafters here for this porch roof, all they did is they notched the rafter. I don't know if I can show you this or not. Under there, they just notched the rafter and hung it on a piece of the clapboard. And what happened over the years is, from the weight of the ice and snow and so on there, sorry about that, on there, the clapboard ripped out, and so the porch roof sagged. So what I had to do is basically put supports all the way along there. You can see I just used 2x4 supports to strengthen the rafters here. All I did was I took a 2x4 plate, nailed it into the joists there on the floor, and ran it across there so that it's supported, and then I put a 2x4 up. This makes it good and solid now. This roof will bear a whole lot more weight. The main house foundation runs down from here, not out on the porch, so it's very strong, that connection there, so I don't have to worry about it. But that's one of the things that I had to do to ensure that this roof could continue to handle the weight. Again, the right thing to do would have been to reframe everything, put them 2 feet at a minimum on center with modern lumber, but again, that's a bigger, expensive project than I wanted to get into. So I did what was necessary to make it structurally sound and still kept much of the original framing. So we are making progress. I did, as you can see, get one panel on there last evening. Let me see if I can show you here a little bit. And as you can see, I did tuck it right up under the wall of the house, just enough. Now there's going to be an end wall piece of trim that goes over that'll seal it up, but that makes it waterproof. No water can, the rain can't go uphill to flow up in there, basically, is what I'm saying. And then when that other piece is on it, it'll seal it permanently. I still have to put that on, and then this sidewall piece I got to pull back off and put that on after the end wall piece. But then after that's on, then I've got to put another piece of Celotex. You can see I pulled some of the old off of there, the second layer, and then run that right over the flange there on the end of the end wall piece to make that waterproof, so nothing can come down the wall and tuck behind. The rain can't get behind the roofing. So that's the plan for today. The other thing that is part of the plan for today is there are a couple of these stud cavities here where there is no more insulation, as you can see, and under there. The reason for that is when this house was originally, not originally, but when electric heat was added back in the 1960s, the contractor blew into the walls old rock wool insulation. You can see there's still some of it there. and some of that just either dissipated or they didn't get all the cavities, stud cavities filled. So I'm just going to take some roll insulation, cut it, and shove it down there as best I can. The other thing too is, back in the 1980s when I enclosed this porch, well, this part over here was the bathroom, that was done in the 70s, but the rest I enclosed. I actually put blown-in insulation up in here, the cellulose blown-in insulation, and over the years it's kind of settled, so it's not as well protecting as far as for R value, as you can see, and there's some spots down in there where it's in pretty rough shape. So what I'm just going to do, I got a few bags of more cellulose. I'm not going to blow it in, I'm just going to break the bales open and kind of scatter it around as I go to reinforce the insulation that's in here. Again, in a typical home, most of your heat loss is out through the ceiling, or if you have lousy windows. But since heat rises, your ceiling is what needs the heaviest insulation for protection against heat loss. So I'm going to add to what's here, and hopefully that'll keep things nice and toasty. So the plan is to keep working my way from right here to left to the end of the wall, and then the last piece I'll put a ladder down there to the roof that's below that. It's only about 8-10 feet, so I can work off the ladder to secure the last panel, and then the end trim piece, and then the job will be done. So hopefully today, and maybe spill over into tomorrow, we'll get that finished. So stay tuned, we'll give you an update.